Guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is so very special. We're going to talk about the new Singe Beauty palette, their first palette, and this is the Galactic Visitor Palette. I feel like there's so much of buzz behind this palette just because it's a YouTuber brand, and Angelica Nyquist, I've been following her for years and years. I feel like I'm on to like 5 years or 6 years, I don't know. From the beginning, when I started doing makeup, I feel like that's the channel that I would reach out for. And she's the one who actually helped me get me into colors. I feel like she creates some beautiful looks on her channel. Of course, I know that you guys know her. Oh my gosh. I know that you absolutely know her, okay? I don't think there's anyone who is watching my video that doesn't know her. She's a big YouTuber. I absolutely love and adore her. I do not know her personally, but when she came out with this palette, and Singe Beauty is her own brand, there is no way that she would create a palette that doesn't perform well. I have so much trust in her and her opinions and her reviews that I absolutely love her. I do have her Kaleidos Club Nebula palette too. I absolutely loved that palette. I feel like this is like her take on Club Nebula but made it her own. I mean, Club Nebula was also her own. I feel like this is more 2024. I love that the packaging is so slim and like soft touch packaging. And look at the color story. Color story is sheer genius in my opinion. I love that she like created those deeper tones, but she gave us like the minty thing to go with that teal. Plus also you can go with like dusty, more bluey version also. And the shimmers that she put in this palette made it more affordable. Singe Beauty's Galactic Visitor Palette retails for $45, and we have 10 beautiful creamy matte shades. We have 3 sparkling shimmer metallic shades, as well as we have 2 duochrome like toppery shades, like iridescent topper shade, and we have 1 holochrome shade. You can see everything on my eyes. I'm going to create 3 looks for you guys using this palette because I'm so excited. If you're ready, let's begin. Let's do live swatches using this palette because I know that you guys love a good live swatch, and I feel like this palette just screams for it. The first shade is called We, which is more muted yellow. It's not pastel yellow. It's like more muted yellow shade, more skin tone shade, I would say. The second shade is called Come, which is like a traditional shimmer shade. Again, very champagne-y, kind of a peachy shade. And then we have the shade called In, We Come in Peace. Oh, I like it. Okay. In is more like again, very light peach tone. And then we have Peace, which is more like a burgundy shade. So that's the first row. Let me swatch it for you guys. There you go. These shimmers, I must say, they're not like multi-chromy or anything. I think that's the main reason why she could keep her price low, because we know in this world, if we put multi-chromes, like several multi-chromes in this palette, it can totally change the price point. But I definitely can see her going and dipping into multi-chromes, but I would rather pay less for a palette and get lesser multi-chromes rather than going and purchasing a whole multi-chrome palette. So those are like 2 swatches each. Very, very pretty. I love it. Okay, let's move on to the second row. Space Dust, Soul, Hoodoos, and Cowgirl. Space Dust definitely feels like very sparkly. This is like a sunflowery yellow shade, very Singe shade, I would say. And then we have Hoodoos, which is like more of like a coral shade. And then we have Cowgirl, which is like a deeper dark brown shade. There you go. That's the second row. Let me swatch it for you guys. Oh, look at that sparkle. Oh, that's what, so beautifully. So pretty. So that's the second row swatch for you guys. You can clearly see the difference between that brown and that burgundy. It might appear closer in the pan, but very, very pretty. Let's move on to the third row. Third is more of like a minty row, like green row. First shade we have Saucer, which is like a minty green shade. Then we have the shade Beam, which is an iridescent pink to a green, actually green to a purple shifting shade. Then we have the shade Believe, which is like a sparkly, like a blue purple shade. Then we have the shade Infinity, which is like a deep dark teal shade. So that is the third row swatch for you guys. Swatch it. Oh, that mint and that brown. Oh my gosh, that would be so amazing. Oh, these shades are so beautiful. So beautiful. Look at that. Stunning. Stunning. Let's move on to the last row. That's more of my cool tone, like blue row, I would say. The first shade is called Encounter, which is like an iridescent blue shade, like a blue to a purple shifting shade. Then we have the shade Orbit, which is like a dusty gray blue. And then we have the shade Milky Way, which is the holochrome of the palette. And then we have the shade Eclipse, which is a black. I love that she included a black. So that is the fourth row swatched. So let's watch it. Oof. This palette can go so many different directions. I can see it. With every iridescent shade or like shimmer shade that I swatch, I feel like, oh, that is so pretty. That is so pretty. There you go. And that is the fourth row swatched for you guys. And that is the entire palette swatched. Look how stunning the color story is. I love every bit of it. Every bit of it. Now, once you've seen all the swatches on my hand and the way it performs, now let's move on to the 3 looks that I created using this palette. Okay, let's begin with our first look. I definitely want to play something with this dusty blue. So let's do that. I'm going to take that dusty blue, which is Orbit, all across my crease. Look at that shade. Such a beautiful, like a gray blue. Perfect for crease shade, I would say. So pretty. Oof, love that shade. Very unique shade, I would say. At least in my collection. I'm going to office in the morning. Hence the lighting difference. Do you wear such colors to office? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Who can stop me? No one. I feel comfortable wearing these shades, so I wear it, okay? Okay, next, I am going to take that same shade Orbit on my lower lash line too, just to tie in everything together. Let's check this black out. This one, and this is called Eclipse. I'm going to take a light bit, tapping off the excess. I just dipped in like very, very lightly because it's easier to blend the black if it is lightly tapped rather than just placing it all in full pigmentation. It's difficult to take it away. It's easy to build it up. It's blending very, very smoothly with that blue shade. That makes me very happy. That blue is amazing. Going back with that Orbit shade and just blending where we meet with that black, just so that there's no harsh lines and there's a seamless blend happening. I am going to take the shade, this one, We. It's more like my skin tone shade. I'm just going to take it underneath the brow bone just to brighten it up. Can you see the difference between this and this? That makes such a huge difference for me. Just underneath the brow bone. I'm going to take this blue, this iridescent blue for sure. I also want to dip into that. Will it be too much? I don't know. I'm going to start with this shade Encounter, and I am going to take that on the inner part. I would say on the majority of the eyelid. That's such a pretty shade. Yeah, on the majority of the eyelid. I'm just going to keep a little bit of the space bare for that deeper blue. not saying that you cannot blend this on top, because this is an iridescent shade, it will blend so beautifully. I just want to use a lot of shades. That's so pretty, so pretty. I'm gonna take the shade Belief, which is that blue purple shade. I'm just gonna melt it right on the outer corner of the eyelid, blending it with that black, just for that seamless blend. That is so pretty. So happy with that. Okay, for the inner corner, I'm gonna take this shade Come. It's a champagne shade. Just right there. There you go. Once we have all of this blended, let me finish off this eye with some liner and mascara. And that's my first eye look. I love the way how that shimmers paired up with those mattes, and the tones of blues are so amazing. That dusty blue shade, Orbit shade, was my favorite of this look. I absolutely love the way how beautifully this palette is curated so that it can like mesh with each other. I absolutely love it. I cannot wait for you guys to see my second look. So let's begin. Okay, let's begin with the second eye look. I definitely want to dip into those peaches. That's my aim today. So I'm going to start with this shade first, and this is the shade In. So I'm going to take that, basically like a transitioning shade because it is a lighter tone on me. It'll just clean up my underneath the brow bone, I would say. And then I'm going to take this shade Hoodoos, which is that peachy shade. And I'm going to take that, look at that shade. That is going to be the majority of my crease. So pretty. I'm going to take that same shade on my lower lash line too. Now dipping into this shade, which is Peace. It's more of a burgundy shade, so I think that would ground up that peach very well. So I'm going to take that in my inner and the outer corner just to melt everything together, and we'll deepen it out with that deeper brown shade, which is called Cowgirl. Look how deep that shade is. That's so pretty. And it's melting with that peach so beautifully. I'm going to take that same shade Peace on my lower lash line too. Very close to the lash line. Now once we have that all blended, now I'm going to take a smaller brush and I'm going to dip into that Cowgirl shade, which is that deeper brown. And I'm going to take that in the extreme outer corner of that eye. Going back into that Hoodoo shade and just blending all the edges. That's such a beautiful shade. I love it. Now for the shimmer, I am going to dip into that Space Dust shade right in the center of my eyelid. Let's take that on the brush. It's very sparkly. I am going to spray it just so that I don't have any fallout on my eyes. I'm going to Office. Oh my gosh, look at that shade. I'm gonna just plop that right in the center. And that is such a stunning shade. Oof, look at that. It's glowing. For the inner corner, I'm going to take this shade Come again, and I'm going to take that right in the inner corner. I could have used that yellow also actually, the yellow matte, but we'll save it for another day. Let me finish off this eye with some liner and mascara. And that is my second eye look. I love the way how this eye turned out. It is so sparkly, it's so dimensional. It is so apt for Christmas. I love the gold accent that this palette is giving, and I definitely want to use that yellow shade too. I think that's the only shade that I've not used so far. I really love the way how that peach like blended out with that burgundy and that brown. It looks so, so magical. And I also feel like the shade that we use, this Come shade, if you use that with that burgundy shade, it is giving that pink tint to it. I can see it in my inner corners. I don't know if you can see it or not. This palette can go so many different directions. I cannot wait. Let's move on to the third eye look. Let's start off with the third look. Look at this palette. So yummy. I'm going to start off with this shade, Infinity, the deeper teal shade. All these shades look so yummy in the palette. Cannot even tell you. I'm going to start off with the outer corner first and just deepen it out. I feel like you can definitely alter your look by applying like the deeper shade first or later. I love a good deeper outer corner. That's why I'm going with the outer corner shade first. I just have a feeling if I use the deeper shade, it'll just give me a smoother blend that I am looking for. Look at that. I do have a little bit of fallout, but that's because I'm going with a heavy hand. And I'm also going to take that on the outer corners of the lower lash line. Just right there. I'm going to go into this shade, Saucer. And this is such a beautiful, like a minty shade. Let me apply this and see how well it applies on my skin tone. I'm going to start off with, yep, the crease. I immediately know as soon as I saw this reveal that I want to play with these two shades together. And I feel like this palette would be so good for like all matte looks. Once I have that in the crease, I'm just going to go back and forth with that deeper teal shade too. Just so that the blend is seamless. I'm just going to pat right down the center. Look at the blend. Look at the blend. That's beautiful. I love it. Love it. Okay, now for the shimmers, I'm thinking of doing these two shades, Milky Way and Beam, these two, and we'll see how it rolls. I'm going to start off with this shade, Milky Way, and it is a beautiful holochrome. I'm going to take that in a diagonal way, melting with both the mint shade as well as that green. It's a very thinly milled but such a beautiful holochrome. I love it. Like these are the kind of shades that I really gravitate towards and not the textural shade. These shimmers are, none of them are textured in the pan or on the eyes, hence creating such a beautiful smooth finish. Love that. I've hardly ever gotten like wrongly tracked with Angelica's product. Like I feel like whenever she puts her name towards anything and any products, if it's a collaboration or in this case being her own brand, it delivers so beautifully. Look at that. I can totally take that all across my eyelid, but we definitely have to use more. So I am going to take that shade Beam, the iridescent topper shade, the green one, and I'm going to take that on the inner part and then melt it with that holochrome. Look at that. It's such a beautiful shade. We could have definitely inverted it too, being green being on the outer corners. Look at that. That's so pretty. On my finger, I actually see like a green to a pink, like flip in the duochrome. And when I initially like swatched it, I saw that pink and I was like, yeah, that can go on the inner corner. I mean, don't take me otherwise. Green in the inner corner also looks beautiful. Look at that. The curation of these shades are so stunning. I'm going to take that mint shade and I'm just going to place that in the inner corner just to wrap everything out. Angelica is big on inner corner, like matte shade. And I've actually learned from her to put mattes in my inner corner. I was a big shimmer person, but I feel like when she taught me that method, I've been so open about it. I really love it. Love it. I know it's looking all loud, but let me finish off this eye with some liner and mascara and let me get right back. And that's my third and the final look. I love the way how this turned out. This is so pretty. The shades, the way it blended together, it is absolutely amazing. You know, I'm not a big green person, but the way these shades perform is truly drool worthy. I love it. I love the way how this turned out. I love the deeper tones of mattes that she's put in this palette. I feel like with those pastel-y shades, they perform outstandingly well. I absolutely loved everything about this palette. I really hope that you guys enjoyed all the 3 looks that I created with you guys. Do let me know in the comment section below, have you purchased this Galactic Visitor palette or not? I love the soft matte finish of the packaging too. And I absolutely love the sizing of the palette plus the mirror. Like I really wish that she keeps this size going, because we can definitely get more variety of shades. Plus it's not like so big that it puts me off. I really love. I can definitely see myself traveling with this palette so very much. My highlight, I feel like the highlights of the palette were the mattes in this palette, and the mattes blended so effortlessly. I love that she included these deeper tones in this palette that can go so very well with these pastel tones, as well as like mid-tone shades, as well as lighter tones. This palette can take you in so many different directions, and that's the beauty about this palette. I really cannot wait to create more with this palette, because you can go so many different directions with this palette. I'm very excited, very excited. Congratulations, Angelica. I feel like you absolutely created a genius palette. As soon as I saw the color story, I knew that this is so geniusly curated. The tones, I love it. I absolutely love it. But that's all for today. If you did like my video, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.